Okay, this is another really sketchy situation. Very sketchy.
It's winter time in north of Japan and I'm in the middle of a snowstorm. I don't know if I will make it to my final destination. Hello amazing people of the internet and welcome back to your favorite family-friendly film photography channel where we only risk our lives for 500 views on YouTube. Since a couple of years, I decided that every year I'm going to take a winter road trip, an adventure in the north of Japan, alone on the road, fighting the elements, risking my life, taking serious, grainy and juicy photos. Well, this year I went to Akita prefecture. This area is one of the snowiest in all of the world. So sit down, get a drink, be comfortable on your couch and get ready for the next 20 minutes of infinite film photos. By the second I arrived, I realized what was ahead of me for the next 3 days. The amount of snow on the side of the road was insane. Piles taller than the car everywhere. You know, I'm a city boy, used to the mild Tokyo weather. I knew what I was heading towards when I booked this trip, but I couldn't imagine this amount of snow.
For this trip, I will always have two cameras loaded with different stocks. So I will keep the black and white on the Nikon and color film on the Leica. I am shooting Canmere 400 pushed one stop.
After a 30 minutes ride, I decided to have some food. Nothing is better than a bowl of hot steaming noodles. I found a restaurant in a little village on the road. This shot could have been taken in the 80s. The beauty of Japan is that sometimes it feels frozen in time. After my quick stop, I arrived at the first destination of the day, the Dakigayari Valley. I was the only one there because I'm a smart person and of course I go to famous summer trails during full winter time.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful views. Wow, this is incredible. There's a beautiful red bridge in the distance. And it's quite photogenic.
I ventured into a small trail completely covered in snow. I walked for about 10 minutes to a suspension bridge with beautiful views of the valley. Dark clouds were surrounding the hills. Despite being noon, there wasn't much light at all. I was alone there, in the cold, embracing this sense of solitude that permeates the Japanese countryside.
I said that before in some videos. I have a general, vague idea of where I'm going. However, you know, I don't want to follow strict plans because I think you become blind to, you know, adventure, to whatever can happen. Right now, I'm going to Lake Tazawa. The lake in the mist. Wow, what a dramatic picture. I will get back tomorrow for some proper photos, apparently. On the other side of the lake, there's a beautiful torii gate. I then drove to the little hostel where I was staying for the night. I love staying in these places when I travel around Japan. They give me a feeling of being home. Despite my solo, lonely travels, I find comfort in these places. Before going to bed, I wanted to take a nice hot bath, so I went to a local hot spring, not too far from some ski slopes. Bathing after a long, cold day is one of the best treats ever. Clearly, I brought my camera with me, loaded with Marix 800T.
Good morning. It's kind of cold. It's about 6:30 a.m. There was a nice snowfall yesterday night. And now everything is covered in snow. It's really beautiful. Everything was covered in white snow. The road, the buildings, piles 2 meters tall. It was quite a view.
Luckily, it didn't snow too much yesterday, so I think it's still manageable.
I drove back towards the lake, stopping from time to time when I found an interesting composition. By the time I got to the lake, I was alone on a narrow road surrounding the lake shore. I took my Leica, focused to infinity, and took the shot. I like this photo a lot. The colors are muted, but the browns contrast well with the snow, and the falling snowflakes make it even more interesting. I arrived at the Torii Gate in front of the lake, one of the main attractions in this area.
Fucking ice. I was about to die to take that photo. Beautiful, beautiful Torii Gate.
A few hundred meters from the gate, there was a beautiful golden statue on the lake. I roamed around taking photos of the scenery. Everything was shut down for the winter, and it gave off exactly the kind of solitude that I'm searching for in my personal work. It's a unique time of my life. I will soon turn 32. I don't have a girlfriend, no plans of having a family, and I spend most of my time alone. Since I moved to Japan, I've become incredibly attracted to the remoteness of the Japanese countryside. And only recently I've realized that these photos reveal something about myself. I feel an attraction to this sense of loneliness that I find in remote villages and abandoned buildings.
Alright, I've been driving for about 20 minutes and I still need a coffee. I desperately need a coffee. And man, it's snowing like crazy.
I drove up north for about an hour. The storm temporarily stopped, and from time to time the sun was shining. I found a tiny road in the countryside and drove until the very end, where I found a hot spring resort. I crossed the property and ventured into the forest. The path was completely covered in ice, and in front of me there was a small cave and a waterfall. I wasn't there for photos, my curiosity and sense of adventures took me there.
I need to find some food that doesn't come from a family mart. So I'm gonna see if they have some ramen or some shit over there because I'm hungry. Jesus.
After a hot meal, I hit the road again towards my final destination, Lake Tawara. While driving through a lot of random villages, I stumbled across a few interesting buildings, so I clearly had to stop and take a walk.
Right now, I'm on the way to the lake where I'm gonna sleep tonight. One thing that I never do enough during these road trips is to stop by these local areas, these very small towns and villages. So I was driving and I saw this beautiful barber shop behind me.
This place was covered in nostalgia and piles of snow. I'm always curious about what these places looked like 20 or 30 years ago.
Okay, this is another really sketchy situation. I'm a bit nervous. Honestly.
I was shitting my pants. I ventured myself into this mountain road. It was icy and the car was drifting at every corner. So I did what everyone else would do. I stopped the car and took serious grainy bangers. 3 pairs of underwear and 10 photos later, I arrived at the lake.
I don't know how's the audio right now because it's super windy. It's a very windy situation and freezing. I finally got to the destination of the day, Towada Lake. It's a beautiful, huge caldera in the north of Akita prefecture. I just want to take a couple of photos before it gets dark in about 40 minutes. And then I will call it a day.
I finally got to my hotel after a long day of driving and photos in the cold. I was exhausted. Now I would like to open a separate chapter in this adventure. These old luxurious hotels in Japan represent the gems of a long gone past. They are very common in rural touristic areas, and somehow they all share the same characteristics. Splendid wide hallways and dining areas are adorned with fancy ceramics, paintings and statues. You name it and you can find it. And of course, how could I forget the hot spring, the onsen? Every respectable hotel will have a hot spring where guests can have a hot bath. However, as you can see, these places are often empty, located in remote areas that saw better days of a wealthy and long gone past. As I travel around Japan, I promised myself to stay more often in these places. And if you found this interesting, well, let me know in the comments and I'll show you more in my next videos. And now back to the main quest.
Good morning, pretty boys and girls. It's a beautiful, finally sunny morning here in north of Japan in Tohoku, and I feel absolutely great. I am now in this little town by the lake, which is pretty much dead during winter time. It's very quiet. Everything's covered in snow.
After a nice long night of sleep, I walked out of the village and ventured into a short trail in the woods. The crisp, frozen air of the morning was stinging. The icy snow cracked at every step I took, and the beautiful sun rays shone through the trees. I reached the end of the trail and arrived at the lake shore. I spent there 30 minutes taking photos, enjoying the scenery and beautiful moments of solitude. I love living in Tokyo, but I realized that sometimes I need a break from the city, the noises, the traffic. Going to places like this is my way to slow down. I spent the next 2 hours driving towards west, listening to music and stopping from time to time to take a photo. I was heading towards the Oga Peninsula, where the rugged coastline offers dramatic, stunning views.
I love this winter landscape, man. It's really interesting. First of all, no one's around here. It's really cold and you don't feel welcome. When you want to take a photo in winter in a situation like this, it feels like you have to earn it.
These rugged coastlines looked like they were from a painting. I felt like the wanderer above the sea of fog by the famous painter Caspar David Friedrich. I was there admiring the infinite power of nature and the endless ocean, traveling with my mind across the horizon. I spent that afternoon driving along the coastlines, stopping by small fishing villages, taking as many photos as I could. It was the end of that road trip, and I feel that this time I finally captured the essence of the bigger project I've had in my mind, documenting the remoteness of the Japanese countryside. That loneliness resonates deeply with me. It reflects a phase of my life I'm going through, and I think that that attraction is starting to come through in the photos. So that was it for today's video. I hope you had a good time. For me, it was a great solo winter road trip. I am very sorry if it took me so long to upload this episode. However, I was working on my new setup. I now have a desk, a monitor, and I hope that this can boost my productivity, and so I can bring more videos to you. Also, yeah, I didn't want to mention this, but in the last couple of weeks, I was in California with Jason. We took this amazing photo. I'm not sure that if he will upload the video, but it was amazing. We drove our bikes and shot photos of gas stations, and yeah, our hands are touching.